Hello, fellow pickers, and my name is Mike Crafton, and I'm coming to you from the Redwoods of Northern California.
And hello, my name is Carl Mandrilli, coming to you from snowy Castle Rock, Colorado.
What? It's snowing? Nice.
It's not, yeah, I don't know if it's snowing, but yeah, we had our first snow yesterday. We had like a foot here in Castle Rock, and now it's, it's like short sleeve shirt weather. It's great, but yeah, that's Colorado, man. Weird stuff. So that's how it goes. That means that's kind of signaling the end of the garage sale season, right?
Wow, crazy. Yeah, well, maybe for you, not for me.
Not for you. You live in a different place. All right. So, all right, man. What you got? What you got for me this week? You got a story this week?
Yeah, so we got some good stories for you this week. So you ever go and map out your garage sales and you drive by one and you see something like they just got a couple things on the driveway and you're like, oh, I'm going to pass that up. I'm not going to go to it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Well, we went out and we mapped it out and we drove by this one and I told Jen was with me and I was like, oh, I'm not going to go to this one. It's just got a couple things on the driveway. She's like, no, just stop. It's probably has a room somewhere or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we stopped and there's only a couple things on the driveway, but you walk back into the garage and it was this guy's grandpa's house. And it just had a garage full of stuff. And then you even went deeper and it went into a back room. And there was a ton of really cool stuff in this back room. We ended up finding a whole bunch of brand new stuff, some figurines, we're looking them up on eBay as we're looking through them. And some of them were selling, their comps were pretty good.
Okay.
But two things that we came across that was really good was one, we found a pair of Twisted X driving shoes. They're moccasins.
Okay.
I know, but they're brand new in the box. Comps were going for like $80-$90. And these things were brand new. So I picked those up for $5. And then also, they also had an Apple Watch sitting there with the box.
Okay.
And so we're like,
how much is that?
Yeah, I'm going to grab this thing. So we took it up front. She's like, how much do you want for the Apple Watch? And she goes, well, how about $20? And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, does it work? And she goes, yeah, it still worked. I just couldn't get it to pair with my phone anymore. So I bought a new one. And what do you think about that? Would you have put that back or would you have picked it up?
So, I mean, there's so much to that. Like, what version is it? Does it look like it's pretty well used? I don't know. I'd probably, honestly, I would take those factors into account and I'd probably package it with all the rest of the stuff and try to get a deal.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did.
Okay.
We got it for $20, right? And took it home. I put through it on the charger. It charged up just fine, but I could not get this thing to pair with my phone at all. And I was like, geez.
Okay.
So I ended up just Googling it real quick and learned how to do a hard reset on those watches and did a hard reset. And now my wife has a brand new Series 3 Apple Watch for $20.
There you go. Great deal, man. Great deal. Okay.
I know. Yep.
I'm confused then. So, because we closed out our show with pick of the week. Is that your pick of the week? Are you revealing it?
No, that's just the story. Yard sale stories I had.
All right.
There's so many of them. I mean,
Yeah.
I save them all up for you. I just can't save them up for you anymore.
Yeah, you can. We've talked about this. We can have a regular conversation, my friend. We can talk about
but
this.
These are all good. They're all so good.
Yeah, and you can save stories for normal conversations that are good too. That's allowed. So my story doesn't have anything to do with picking. Actually, this has to do with we took this like mini vacation. Like, I don't know if it's a vacation. It's sort of when you're taking your whole family with you. It's more of like a visit somewhere. And we were down southwestern Colorado near Durango in a place called Pagosa Springs, sitting on the grass lawn next to the place we were staying. And I took a video of this. I might throw this on our Instagram page, but I know you've seen the video. I had a wild fox.
Oh, that's where that was?
Yeah. It came right up to me. I mean, literally right next to me and sat down like it was my pet. I could have pet it. I could have fed it. I could have scratched behind its ears. I didn't because that's dangerous, but I could have done that. It hung out for a while, kind of was just staring at me, scratching itself. I think it wanted me to feed it. And then it kind of just slowly walked away. But I had a wild fox just come hang out with me.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no,
know.
so
I know.
the video looked great. I thought you had like a hot dog in your hand or something like that. And it was
I
tempting.
had nothing. I had no food on me whatsoever. I couldn't have
Come
fed it
on.
had I wanted to, but I know you're not supposed to. So
No.
I have an unhealthy lack of fear of wild animals, and so I was super sad to sit there and know that most people probably would have gotten up and maybe skedaddled. But anyway, that was
Yeah.
my story for the week. So
Right.
neither story though has anything to do with this episode, which is an amazing interview with some amazing guests, right?
That's right. We asked the Pittsburgh Picker and the Daily Cabbage, Adam and Sarah, to come on our show a couple weeks back, and we finally had
Yes.
them on today, and they were
Amazing. I mean,
people to
not only
talk
they
to.
teach us a whole lot of stuff, their stories are crazy. And so there's definitely something for
know.
everybody out there. There's information, there's entertainment, there's unexpected twists and turns, and just things that I was definitely not expecting coming out of this interview. So yeah, I'm excited for this.
All right, so we had a great interview with Sarah and Adam, and let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, so we have a special interview for you today. We reached out to Adam and Sarah a few weeks ago and asked them if they would like to come on our show. So why don't you guys please help me welcome Sarah from the Daily Cabbage and Adam, the Pittsburgh Picker, to our show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Nice.
Thanks for having us.
Woohoo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for coming on. So we want to start off a little light. So how about telling us a little bit about your guys' origin story?
It's an odd story, actually. My mother ran a storage facility, and they, just like on television where they auction off storage lockers,
Right.
and people buy them. They had one of those go down, and the guy that won it cleaned everything out. My mom knew the guy, and he said, "Hey, there's a couple boxes left in there," and most people weren't allowed to use like the trash or anything there. They had to take everything. But since my mom knew him and everything, he was like, "There's like two boxes in there. Can you just have your guy toss them for?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So she opened the boxes, and they were, I'm gonna butcher the name again, but they were a Native American, Sarah,
Kachina
What?
dolls.
Kachina dolls. So they're like
Right.
handmade on a stand Native American dolls. And she sent me a picture of them. She's like, "Are these worth anything?" And I'm like, "I don't really know." So I looked it up on eBay, and I'm like, yeah, they are. So she mailed them all to us. And we just put them on eBay. And I'd had an eBay account. I had sold like old phones and, just random stuff here and there. Over the course of like 7 years, I think I maybe sold 2 or 3 things. And so we started selling them, and they sold like mad. And like even the ones that got broken in transit sold. And we're like,
Wow.
this is
Wait. How much are you talking for here? How much money?
hundreds. I mean,
And how many? How many did you have in the boxes?
there were 2. Sarah, there's 2 boxes, right?
There were 2 boxes. I'd say like total, probably like, I don't know, maybe like 25 or 30. And then we had like some woven rugs and things like that too. And like some
Yeah.
baskets and other type of Native American things.
Okay, that's
That's a
decent
lot of money if
amount.
it's hundreds for each.
Yeah.
No, a couple of them were hundreds. Most of them were
Okay.
between $25 and $50. But
Okay.
it happened so fast, and they sold so well. Even we had this one that was like it was on like a, I don't know, like a planed piece of wood. And then there was like the same statue 4 times stuck together right next to each other, and it almost looked like it was running. And all those were broken off. Like the feet were still stuck to the board, but all the dolls were broken off. And we sold that
Oh no.
Okay.
for like $20 or something like that. And I'm like,
wow.
this is interesting. So like then we started looking on YouTube and like seeing all these people that were selling things, and we're like, well, we go to thrift stores and buy things like every
Right.
now and again. Like, and we were big record collectors at one time. So we would go to record stores. There's like one of the biggest record stores in eastern United States is here. And so we would go to like, thrift stores and stuff like that just to look for stuff.
Okay.
And we're like, well, we could easily buy stuff at thrift stores and resell it. So that's what we started doing. And we weren't real good at first. We were bad, actually.
Like you weren't good at finding things or pricing things or all the above?
So I think everybody starts the same way, right? Everybody does this, because you don't want to be standing in a thrift store, standing at a garage sale, looking feverishly on your phone. That, and when you're new, you don't want to look like an amateur. So sometimes you're just buying things because you're like, oh yeah, this is going to sell. And
wait a second. Wait, I got to cut you off here because this is the second time this has come up on our show. I understand the garage sale thing. You're standing in front of somebody, and you're looking at something on your phone. Like, that's awkward. Yeah. But you're at a thrift store. Who cares? Like, who's bothering you with that, or why does that matter?
I don't know that it matters. The thrift store probably not as much, but and we get this all the time when people. I got it today actually from one of my cousins. Everybody thinks they know what will sell. My best friend would go to flea markets with us, and he'd be like, "This is going to sell, I guarantee it," and it didn't. Or something like that. And so at thrift stores, you look up the majority of the stuff, but then you come across like this Disney shirt or something, or a Star Wars shirt, and you're like, everybody loves Star Wars, we're buying these. Right. And then you get to figure out that they sold about 16 million of these things, and nobody wants this shirt. Right. And so that's why we weren't really all that good at it at first. And I don't think anybody is. I think everybody does the same thing. So yeah, we weren't real great right at the beginning, but what really kind of got us is we went on vacation in Delaware, and a department. I don't
think I've heard that phrase before. You went on vacation. Sorry.
Vacation in Delaware.
It's funny you say that.
We go all the
time. It's funny you say that because when Sarah told me, hey, my mom wants us to go on vacation with her to Delaware, I went, okay. What's in Delaware?
Delaware's the only state that doesn't have a national park.
But you also don't realize Delaware is all coastline.
Okay.
The whole state. Okay. I mean, it's all beach. Yeah. And they kept all the crap out of it too.
Okay.
So there's not a Ripley's Believe It or Not, or Madame Tussauds, or they kept all of that garbage. That's all in Ocean City, Maryland, across the border. So if you want that, you can drive down the road. But if you just want cool little chill beach town with mom and pop stores in it, Delaware's your place, and they have no sales tax.
Oh, okay.
So, it's awesome.
And side note, I would like to apologize to any Delaware residents because that was probably offensive.
No.
I haven't been to Delaware, so I will defer to Adam's wisdom on this one.
A guy who watches our live and is commonly in our chat, he lives in Delaware, and a lot of people have said that, and he's like, yeah, I know, the state's very tiny, nobody gets it. But It's really cool when you're here.
Okay.
So we go there, and there was this department store that was closing, for good. And they were on their last day, or maybe last 2 days. I don't remember. But we went in there and we bought some fragrance stuff and some t-shirts and stuff, all super duper cheap and all brand new with tags and stuff. And then we bought Peds, like those temporary socks you put on when you try shoes on if you walk in with no socks.
Yeah.
We bought boxes and boxes of these things because we looked them up when we were there. Mm-hmm. And they were selling, and we're like, wow, these sell. That's crazy.
I don't think I would even look those up. That's surprising.
Crazy. We sold the crap out of them. And that's when we started realizing it seems to me that the stuff that you should be looking for is the stuff not everybody else is looking for. Because we were going off of YouTube and we were buying mugs and, t-shirts and looking for that sealed pack of Garbage Pail Kids that nobody, and it just wasn't happening for us. So when we started going down that road, and we also got away from looking for the $500 items, because you watch all these pickers on YouTube, and it's always like, oh my God, look, I found this thing. It's worth $350. Mm-hmm. If you're going to make a living at this, you've got to have items that sell for, between $10 and $20.
A lot of those.
And selling a ton of those. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And so the Peds sold for $15 a box, but we paid 50 cents a box.
Right.
So, and then.
Yeah.
It's a great return.
So that kind of started us off. And that was when we were like, okay, well, we can figure this out. And our store has evolved. From what it was then to what it is now is drastically different, and it will probably evolve again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's our origins.
That's a great story right there. I love that story. There's all sorts of things.
And it's interesting that so Sarah will fill in. She'll be like the prequel.
Well, what's your origin story, Sarah?
My story is I don't know how I'm the prequel, but yeah, so that's how we started doing this. And after, when was it that you started the channel? When we got back from vacation, or you weren't doing it before
Yeah.
vacation, were
No,
you?
it was when we got back from vacation.
Yeah, is when he decided, he's going to try to do YouTube. And so, he did start doing YouTube videos and stuff. And like I said, I was still working my full-time job. So I just did not want to be, I didn't want anybody knowing what I was doing. I didn't want, anyone knowing that there was like this side hustle. So it was mainly like him, but then a couple months went by and we started going to like thrift stores and stuff and estate sales, and we started filming that. And, I was in those videos and stuff like that. And then as far as like the daily cabbage thing goes, which is my Instagram with the Cabbage Patch Kids, we had gone to this crazy estate sale that was a duplex.
Right.
And it was like one of our best videos ever that Adam had filmed. Actually, we were both filming. I had a GoPro on, he had a GoPro on, because it was duplex.
2 houses.
Yeah. It was this duplex. And so he went on one side and I went on another side. And I don't even know why, but for some reason I was like obsessed with this Cabbage Patch Kid that I saw in the pictures of the estate sale that was like new in the box. I'm like, oh, we could probably totally flip that. Like, we had looked it up, if it was a decent price.
Right.
I'm like, we could probably get like $100 for it. And those things were like huge in the 80s. And I had them like when I was little, but like I was never like obsessed with them. I had like dolls, and I'd always like been into collecting like creepy dolls and like strange dolls.
There's a lot more questions I have now, but keep going.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. So, yes. So I was just like, for some reason I was just like obsessed with this Cabbage Patch Kid. So it was on the side of the duplex that Adam had gone into, and he, we went through this house and we filmed everything, and he ended up getting the Cabbage Patch Kid for $15, and we flipped it for like $100.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it was like
$125.
mint.
This thing,
Yeah.
never been opened. Had the receipt from, what was the name of the toy
Toys R
store? It
Us.
was not KB.
No, I think it was KB.
No.
Wow.
Was it K? I thought it was Children's Palace.
Oh, yep. It was definitely Children's Palace. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was
Wow.
like in a bag too. So like it didn't get dust on it or anything like that. Like
Like
yeah, it was like, it was in mint condition. And so we ended up selling it for like $100. And then we started going to the bins and stuff, and I started finding Cabbage Patch Kids, and I would just throw them in the washing machine and just like sell them, just comb their hair and sell them like with no clothes on for like $5-10 or whatever. So then I was like,
When you say the bins, do you mean the Goodwill bins?
yeah, Goodwill bins, like the Goodwill outlet. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, picker slang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were finding like a decent amount there. And then I have no idea why one day I'm like, it might be a good idea if I like get some Cabbage Patch Kids and like do their hair and like put some baby clothes on them and like try to sell them like that. So one day I like, got this Cabbage Patch Kid, cleaned it, did its hair, like put baby clothes on it, put it on eBay, and it sold like pretty much instantly. So I'm like, okay, I'll try again, So I started doing it.
Do it again.
They started selling like, last year last year was my first year doing it, 2021. So last year I sold about 400.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. This year I've sold over 700.
Wow.
It is like a whole thing now where like,
1,000.
now if they come originally dressed, I still clean them and everything. And I still like straighten them up. And I have, Instagram, and I post them on Instagram. I get 90% of my sales on eBay from Instagram followers.
Oh, that okay. That that was one of my questions. Was I saw your Instagram page, and I look, the Daily Cabbage, and you're putting a picture of a Cabbage Patch Kid a day on, where you're not selling obviously directly from Instagram. So my question was literally, what in the world? Like I was like, what is going on here?
Yes, and I post like a ton. So like I post like probably 5 to 10 times a day, even if I'm not posting new dolls, because sometimes I just can't get I can't get a lot of dolls. But now I have a lot. I've had a lot coming in recently, but it's just, it's a whole process for me. I'll sit down, I'll, fix the doll, I'll post it on eBay, then I'll go over on Instagram and I'm like, look, I have this doll, it's up for adoption. And like some nights I'll just sit here, like the last 2 weekends, I'll sit here and like I'll post it, it'll sell. I'll post it, it'll sell. I'll post it, it'll sell. So I'm just sitting here for like 2 hours. It's like after I'm done, I say to him, I'm like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. Like,
if I was selling that fast, I would just that would just energize me to keep going. That's amazing.
It does. It really does. Like I sell like a ton of them and I really like doing it. And there are so many people like, from the kids of the 80s that are like, I lost my Cabbage Patch Kid in a fire, or somebody stole my Cabbage Patch Kid, or this and that. And they're like buying them because it's just like nostalgic for them.
Yeah, Mike's one of those guys, actually.
He
has to have it every night to sleep.
One Cabbage Patch doll at an estate sale, and for some reason, I just became like crazed over these.
That's a life-changing moment.
Dolls.
You became the daily Cabbage.
Yeah. I'm the daily Cabbage, and I've been working really hard I want to get to 10,000 followers. I'm at 2,500.
Okay,
and I bust my butt every day because I'm trying my best here.
So I have a question for you guys. When you guys were first starting out, and let's say you got your first 2 or 3 Cabbage Patch, and they're around the house. Now, when you woke up in the middle of the night, say had to go pee or something like that, did they scare the heck out of you when you turned the corner and saw them? I know.
No.
They're staring at you.
You don't understand the creepy doll collection that was here before.
Carl and I have actually talked about the creepy dolls, and it sounds pretty interesting.
No, there's no doll that can scare me at this point in my life because of what I've seen from my wife. So
that sounds like a challenge, to be honest. So we'll keep our eyes out for
Good luck with
some creepy stuff. Okay.
I'm looking at a doll that has no arms or legs right now, and
No, well, we actually shared this on a previous show, but actually, strangely, it's in Pennsylvania. There's a guy that I know, and his grandma, his aunt owned a doll museum that like shut down, and they ended up storing like hundreds of thousands of dolls in a barn that are just like all set up. And so
Sarah,
I'll try to get you entrance into that. We'll see how that goes.
Please. That's what we need.
But yeah, Sarah, you made a comment about going, filming stuff or getting out there and filming kind of on the fly. And before we started recording, Adam, you'd said that something like you've been banned or shunned or
both.
Something from filming while you're out and about. What's that story?
Both. So we when we first started, when we started first getting serious into this, we would go to a lot of estate sales, and we would go to like estate sales like before they opened. Like we would wait in line to get into the estate sale. That's actually how we got the first Cabbage Patch. And when we, in fact, I think it was that one, the estate sale with the Cabbage Patch. Right. After that, every liquidator was like, "You can't film at our estate sales." And we're like, "Okay." And then they actually took it one step further, and they said to us, if you, we don't mind if you film afterwards and show everybody what you got, but just don't tell them what you paid for it. And I was like, well. Okay. So, and I get it. They don't want their customer to get angry that they may have undercharged people for things. Wow. But in the same respect, like my side of the thing is if, just because you didn't do your job doesn't mean I have to hide for you. Like it's your job to get the maximum amount of money for your client. If you messed up, it's not my problem, and you can't stop me. You can stop me from going to your estate sale, which is fine because I'm not going to go anyways now that you've said that, which is exactly what happened. I won't say the lady's company, but like after that, Sarah looked at me and she's like, "We're never going to her estate sales again."
I don't want to go to your estate sale anyway.
Then we found the YouTube phenomenon that is the Goodwill bins and people filming at the Goodwill bins. And so what we did was Sarah had a GoPro and I had a GoPro, and we would just go around to the bins and film us rummaging through these bins. And like at first it was just us with like very little if any really commentary, and then Sarah started speaking during the whole thing, and people loved it because Sarah's goofy. And
Yeah, because it seems like you're talking to yourself at that point, right? Like to other people.
It does, but like Sarah would find things and she would make like I think one of the favorites was when she found a picture. It was like an old wedding picture, or no, yeah, it was a wedding picture, and it wasn't an old wedding picture. It was like, you know, a recent one. And Sarah's like, "Oh, I wonder what happened." That's
oh no. These poor guys.
So you're commenting not just on things that you're like interested in, but you're just kind of you're almost like mocking some of the items.
Yes. like canned goods.
That's awesome.
Like finding like canned corn in the bins, like expired from like 1995, like or something just crazy. Like
thank you, Goodwill, for putting this in the bin. We appreciate that.
I would say 75% of what Sarah said on those videos was just making fun of the stuff that she found.
Yeah, no, that's genius. Actually, that's really funny. I had this idea because we heard about the bins from somebody else, and she says she doesn't go to them anymore because of just how aggressive people get with them. People just get feisty, and it could be different places. But I had this idea of filming, but going in with like a football helmet and pads on just to protect myself. So I don't know if that's appropriate or not.
Oh my God, it'd be so funny.
No, he has this idea of putting me in a helmet and football pads on and then filming me going through the bins.
I'm fine with that too. Okay, but getting back to the estate sale thing. So there's no way that they saw the product on YouTube after. It was just that they saw you physically filming on site.
No, they saw the product.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the customer's not going to see that.
You would think not, but actually we have gotten it back after estate sales because the customers have seen them.
Oh.
Why would they be leaving looking for that?
I don't know, but that house with the Cabbage Patch. So this is a phenomenon. And
those people loved us, though.
Well, no, I meant that house itself, those two houses itself were a phenomenon. And hoarders are common in this area. And I think it's the blue collar steel town kind of roots where what you have you hang on to and never get rid of style thing. So you do find a lot of hoarders in this town, but what you don't find is parents and grandparents, well, kids and parents living next door to each other, both being hoarders. And so these two houses,
these two were.
Yeah. They were full. I mean, and you're talking, we sold, it wasn't a sweatsuit, right, Sarah? It was a workout suit, wasn't from Kmart?
Oh, the one, like the metallic one? Like,
no, it's like plastic.
Yeah, but it looked like metally, like.
Yeah, so like,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Picture like 80s workout suit, but it's like that plastic material from Kmart, still brand new in the package. Never been opened. Boots never been opened. Pants still with the tags on it from the 70s, 60s, 50s. Like just amazing amounts of brand new old stuff in this house. And it was stacked both sides. The left side of the house was the kids, and they had like VHS, and they had toys and like clothing and all this stuff. And then the right side of the house was all vintage clothes and like vintage hand towels. Like Sarah got literally hip checked out of the way for these towels with mushrooms on them from the 70s on her way in, because if you've ever waited in line in an estate sale, it's like Walmart Black Friday.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, man, it was rough.
Yeah.
You might consider wearing football pads, just FYI.
Yeah, well, so that's, you get used to that when you're a picker, because it's the same way at the Goodwill bins when they bring the new ones out. But it's that estate sale, we got invited back 3 times or 2. Well, it was 3 times in total, or was it 2 times? I can't remember.
Wait, what does that even mean? You got invited back? Like they reached out to you?
Total.
So the kid of the family that owned the houses now, because the grandparents, so the grandparents passed away like 10 years ago, and then the kid, the person living in the left side of the house was still alive when he died. He owned both houses, so he left it to their daughter, and now that they own the house, their son their younger son, who's like 15, found us on YouTube and showed the parents our video, and they contacted us, and they were like, hey, you guys seem to really like all the stuff you bought. These houses are still half full of stuff. Do you want to come back?
That's
and we were
amazing.
like, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
So we went back 2 more times and pulled bags of stuff out of these houses.
Okay.
We're still selling stuff from that pick.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like the dream.
And the kid like thought we were like
Yeah, he
celebrities.
wanted
Yeah.
pictures
Like,
taken with us.
he got our picture taken with us, and like they said that like the woman's who like it was their daughter that owned it or whatever, but her husband was like, it was just so cool to see you guys go through the house and like what people do that like resell stuff. Like, they were like they just loved
She
it.
gave us the story of the Cabbage Patch too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. So they bought those on release day.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
She said that my parents sat that thing in the basement and said, you cannot touch it. She said, I hated that Cabbage Patch with a patch.
That's so funny.
Because I couldn't take it out of the box. My parents wouldn't let me touch it. She goes, but I ended up getting my own one later. She goes, but that first one, she goes, I despised that Cabbage Patch because I could never. She's like, I'm so happy somebody bought it and I was going to keep it the way it is. And but
that's so funny. Yeah, because usually when you see like on American Pickers, typically when they're showing interest in something that is somebody's, and the person's like, "Oh, you like that? Well, I like that too. So you can't have that." And then it's has the opposite effect.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in estate sales or any sort of garage sale, because the goal of these people is to get rid of stuff. Like they just want it out of their lives, and they don't care what it's worth. If they cared what it's worth, they would be doing what we're doing. And then the people, the professional garage sailors was what I call them. We have several around our area that run garage sales every weekend. Those people are the people that look things up on eBay and they're like, well, it's selling for $30 on eBay. And you're like, well, it's not actually, first of all. And second of all, if you want to take the time and picture it, deal with answering questions and all the other stuff, then sure, it's worth but I'm not buying it for $30.
No, I don't even go to those places. I steer clear. If I know it's a professional garage sale kind of person, I just know there's no deals to be had.
They're gonna have their prices so high. I steer away from them too. You have to look. What I've been looking for is the professional signs. I won't go to the professional looking garage sale signs. I'll go to the homemade one. I'll go to the homemade one that's done with markers and masking tape.
Yeah, the one that they use like really like 10-point font. You can't read where it actually is.
Yeah, exactly. What's that address?
Yeah.
Sarah likes seeing the words family run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's
family
good.
run estate sale. Oh, they just want to get it out of there. That's what you need.
Right.
Their goal is to clean the house out as fast as possible.
I have some friends that do estate sales, and what I've found out that is you got to get in with those guys, and they actually have a pre-sale day for you for their friends and family or whatever it is. So you get to go in and look at everything first and you get the first pick. Then you don't have to wait at the line at 9:00 in the morning and hip check people to get to that.
It's not even 9:00. When we would go, we would get there at 3 a.m.
What?
Really?
Oh my god!
To be the first ones in line. Yeah,
that is crazy.
And that sale, we got there. It was 3:45 in the morning. We waited outside for 4 hours in the freezing cold.
Was it worth it? Wow. Was it worth it?
Yeah. Well,
it was. It was.
So that's all that matters, right?
So what number of line were you?
We were first.
I was.
Oh, you were first.
No, I was like third. Adam, you were first,
I was second.
weren't you? Okay, yeah.
Second.
Okay. So there were people already waiting before you.
The guy that wanted the sword was in front of
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Okay.
He drove in from Middle West Virginia to get this I can't remember the name of the superhero. It's some sword. And they only made like 30 of these things.
Wow, that's crazy.
And he freaked out whenever he got in there because it wasn't there.
Okay.
Oh, no.
And it was pictured. And the family decided at the last minute they wanted to keep it, probably because they found out it was worth like $4 million.
Didn't he sleep in his van too?
He slept in his van,
to get it. Yeah.
So what if I showed up and at 5 a.m. and I slipped you 20 and said, "Hey, can I cut behind you? Would you let me?"
No.
Are you the person that's like, "Yeah, sure," but you have to ask everybody else in line first for their approval?
I'm fine with it, but as long as you're behind me. But no, those people will draw the court.
So I got to give 20 to the person behind you too, like just to sneak in between you. Yeah.
That we have so many funny stories from estate sales because it's a very unique there's 3 types of people at estate sales. There's your resellers, there's your flea marketers, and then there's your just downright hoarders.
Okay.
And
yeah.
The hoarders are the funniest people. So that's the estate sale that Sarah was at, that we were at in Lawrenceville. This lady was walking up to everybody, asking about a sequins purse.
Oh yeah, I remember
Where's the
that.
sequins purse? Did you buy it? I'll buy it off of you.
Wow.
And like she pulled up in this like 1999 Chevy or Ford Windstar van.
Oh yeah.
And the only seat available that had any sort of room left in it was the driver's seat.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, you don't need the sequence.
Yeah, you could probably go without it.
You probably have one in your back seat on the floorboard, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, you probably do.
That's so
she
funny.
was the whole time. Sarah on the way home is like, "Where's the sequence purse? I need the sequence purse."
It's funny because it's in the video too. Whenever I was looking through this like bag of something, and they're like, do you see the sequin purse or whatever?" And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's what I said to her.
I don't care about the purse.
Get away from me.
There's Cabbage Patch Kids here. Get out of my way.
Oh man, if it was a different day, if it was now, and we were going to that sale, Sarah would have switched sides with me. And she would have kicked people to get at that Cabbage Patch.
I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
Sure. Now that you know, for sure.
I don't kick people. Sure. Let's not be crazy.
Okay, that's so funny. All right, so it sounds like you've sort of kind of figured out a lot of things. You've got some strategies. You've got kind of the things that you're targeting.
Before you go any further, we got banned from the bins immediately following that.
Whoa.
Yes.
How do you get banned?
Because of the commentary? Because of Sarah's commentary?
No.
Okay.
No. We would go all the time, and like the YouTube channel was blowing up because it's dumpster diving is essentially what it is.
Right.
Like thousands upon thousands of people, and the vast majority of them aren't resellers. People just like watching people dig through mounds of garbage for some reason. And
they're just there like literally popcorn.
If you look back on these bins videos, we're 3, 4, 5K videos.
Okay.
And so it was going really well. And then one day we're doing our normal thing, and this little kid that works at Goodwill comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey man, there's some people complaining. Can you shut your cameras off?" And I was like, and at the time we'd known the managers. The manager he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm glad you're doing this. You're bringing in business for us, this, that, and the other thing." And I'm like, the managers know we do this, bud. Like, I have permission from them. And he's like, "Yeah, well, they say they're going to call the police."
Oh,
I'm like, what?
Wait. And just to clarify, now you already mentioned the GoPro, but is one of you like filming the other sort of picking through things, or is it just all GoPro stuff?
They're both mounted to us. Yeah. We had backpacks on, and we had mounts on the backpack that were just filming our hands. We very seldom were we in it. I mean, we were in it, but like very seldom would you see our faces.
So are people complaining that they're in it, or what's the issue?
Well, so that had happened, and the manager came up to me and was like, "Hey, people are complaining that their faces are in your videos." And he's like, "Is there any way you can blur them out?" I'm like, "I'll tell you what, I will buy a very expensive editing program and make sure this happens, because I don't want to lose the trajectory of the channel." So I bought Final Cut Pro for my Mac, which, if it's almost $400.
Right. Oh yeah.
Just to be able to blur people's faces. And I did. Okay. And then like weeks went by, and then all of a sudden this happened. And so the customers were threatening to call the police on us. For filming. And it was we later found out the reason. The reason was because the word for it in Pittsburghese is nebby. Meaning like people are always up in other people's business, and they think that you're ruining something that's really good for them.
Okay. All right, so when we have guests such as yourselves on who are way more experienced and wise than us, we like to ask for tips. And so if you don't mind revealing a super secret tip or something that you've learned over the years that can take us to the next level of our picking experiences, what's a bit of wisdom you have? Sarah, what you got?
It would be, now that I'm more specialized, looking for like, I'm into the Cabbage Patches and reselling the Cabbage Patches, looking for those things in places where maybe other people aren't, or places that are going to be more lucrative for me. Like, for example, I do a lot of online auctions because I can get, a big bulk amount of Cabbage Patch Kids there for a better price. Whereas, if I go to a thrift store, I might not find them. And so basically, I'm using less time.
All right, Sarah. So you know what? You want to know another place that you can source those Cabbage Patch Kids, and that's Carl's basement.
We'll be on the next flight.
He secretly has been saving them all these years. He doesn't want to take the tags off.
Yeah, I started a new Instagram called The Weekly Cabbage. It's not as good as yours, only once a week, but I'm trying.
Well, hit me up on Instagram. We could work something out.
That's a serious problem, though. People are cloning other people's pages quite often. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we've been talking about her getting a logo, just to be able to watermark some of her stuff but Sarah's kind of a perfectionist. So
yeah, I mean, I am a perfectionist. I also am very we used to have a landscaping. Well, Adam had a landscaping company, and then when I quit my job, I started helping him, and then we quit that because we were doing this full time. But I actually drew the logo for the landscaping company because I actually am pretty good. But I just don't have time. I have
Cabbage Patch to comb their hair.
I know, right? I do. I have to comb their hair.
Right. No. Because really not just doing one job. I mean, you've got your YouTube channel and you've got all your socials, and that's just a significant time absorber, right?
Yes.
Okay. So last question about your tip there, Sarah. So you talked about sourcing things in bulk. Is that like a super secret location? Is it just specific to Cabbage Patch, or can you tell us?
Oh no, it's I mean, I can disclose it. It's not a secret. It's there's just a lot of online auction sites, and a ton of resellers use them. I mean, there's HighBid, there's shopgoodwill.com, there's other auction sites that people use. So
Whatnot.
Yeah, Whatnot. People source on Whatnot.
Why does that make you laugh, Adam? What's
we were on Whatnot.
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we sold T-shirts on Whatnot, and then when the dollar shipping went away, we were out because
that old shipping.
Yeah.
All right, Adam. So, what is your tip for people that want to take things to the next level?
My tip is a little different. It's more geared towards just knowing the mistakes we made in the beginning versus now. Is sell what you know and sell what you like, because there's so much information out there in YouTube and everything that if you're trying to chase down what you see everybody buying, it's gonna be a lot harder for you versus finding 3 or 4 things that sell that well. And even if you don't know them well, get to know them. I wear jeans, but I didn't know a lot about jeans. But because we started sourcing them, because we had a great source for them, we had a thrift store that would put them 50% off, and they'd be like $3 a pair for Levi's, and we were selling them for 2020. We don't sell very many jeans now, but at the time we were just buying them because it's like, okay, $3 for a pair of jeans, we sell them for $20. Sure, we'll do this all day. I got to know what to look for vintage jeans and stuff like that, and I figured it out, and we enjoyed selling it too. It wasn't a hard sell. I mean, it's easy to ship. You don't have to pad it. You use a priority box, whatever, and you're done. So that's my tip is, you'll see people buying coffee mugs, and you'll see people buying china and glass and Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards, and it all can be just so overwhelming when you're sitting in front of an auction, or you're looking on an estate sale and you're like, I don't know anything about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. But
if there's 12 things in there that do that. It's this business is not, I sell, there's YouTubers out there I won't get out of bed for anything that doesn't sell for $100, and that's crap. Because that's not a successful business. If you're going to chase selling $100 items over and over and over again, it's going to be a very tough road for you. You're going to be putting in a lot more work when you could do 5 $20 items and end up with the same result and probably get them a lot faster. And so that's what, when we started niching down and we started selling things that we know and selling things that we like and selling things that we know we have a pretty constant source for, that's when things started getting easier for us. And that's when our profit margins went up, because we're paying pennies for things and selling them for $60-$70. I mean, we paid 25 cents at most for a photo of an old soldier that we found, that we got in a bunch of other photos, and we just sold it for $80. And it's like, that's cool. And that's awesome. And prior to that, we were buying, brand new Nike pants for $12 and selling them for 15, or not 15, selling them for like 25 to 30. And so our profit margins were much narrower. And once we started getting away from that kind of thing and going towards more like stuff that we know we can sell and turn, that's when things started really changing for us. So that's my tip.
Right. That's good. That's great advice. And that just comes with experience, right? Like I 100% agree with you on, I don't want to get into selling something or buying something that I do not enjoy doing, because I'm going to burn out super quick. So finding stuff that I'm fascinated about, I can see that really paying off.
And I think the community has a lot to do with people that get into this business and immediately go into, that you think Liquid Blue Grateful Dead shirts are all over thrift stores, and you think that that coffee mugs are worth $30, or that there's really rare baseball cards just hanging out at estate sales. Like, the community is kind of at fault for that, because at the end of the day, anybody on YouTube, we're all entertainers in some way, shape, and form. And if we put out videos of us literally going to thrift stores, because I mean, Sarah and I go to thrift stores all the time, and we leave there with nothing. In fact, the other day, Sarah had a cart with like 2 things in it, and she was like, this thrift store sucks. She's like, I don't want. And I'm like, all right, fine, then just let's go. And she just like left the cart, and we walked out the door.
I don't even want these 2 things.
I just wasn't feeling it. It was like I was just trying too hard. You know what I mean? Like,
I've been there.
I was like, I just was like,
that is great,
looking for something to buy, and I'm like, this might make like $5 or $10, but it's probably. And I don't do the death pile. I have to get it in and get it listed. Like, my death pile is like, if it even could be considered a death pile, is like maybe like half a trash bag's worth of stuff would be like my death pile.
Right. Sarah doesn't leave a death pile of dishes either. Like, they have to be,
no.
So.
And you guys have the death pile pig.
We do
stuff too.
Yeah.
If I had a death pile pig, then I would. You
can get your own. Either. Ready for some? Yeah, you can get your own, and I'll give them a shameless plug. deathpilesupportpig.com.
Okay, a couple things you mentioned there. Go with what you know, go with what you like. That makes a lot of sense. And when I first started, I mean, for me, it was really just one item. I identified one thing that I knew was being sold for something, for a price that was significantly less than what I could get for it on eBay. And that was kind of my starting point, and then you kind of grow from there. But what you're saying, like with that picture, is if you can invest low, a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there, it's okay to take risks. It's okay to try new things and see if you can get an ROI on something that maybe previously you weren't knowledgeable about. And if it works out, wow, that's amazing. And if it doesn't, you've only lost a couple bucks, right?
We didn't even get into that side of our business. That's the other thing we niche down into, is we sell other people's photos on eBay.
Oh, really?
Tons of them. I'm looking at 6 of them sitting right here that I got to ship out. And they're literally like other people's family photos, or other people's photos of like their vacation from like the 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s, things like that.
Oh, they're old ones. I was like, why are people buying these?
I don't know if modern ones would sell all that well. Probably from the 90s they would, because my generation is very nostalgic to look back into that time, because I'm in my 40s. But I feel like there's a lot of nostalgic there. And then there's this vintage crew, like the people that are in their 20s now love old stuff and love pictures of old stuff and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff sells really well. And we make a very good living selling photos and postcards and stuff from early 1900s. And then you take it one step further and you go into the 60s and 70s, and you sell like family photos. We sell tons of them. And
it depends. Like, so say it's like a family portrait, and it's like mean, like a professionally done family portrait.
It's all about
all
content.
about like what kind of clothes are these people wearing? Are they wearing like some crazy 70s outfit? Do they have like those big, thick, round, like Coke bottle type glasses that were in style then? Like if you have a picture of like maybe like a dad and a son, and the son's outside playing in a sandbox and the dad is smoking a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
That's good because like, today that would not be acceptable. So like it's all about the content.
Okay, so if I dig up an old family photo from like late 70s, early 80s, let's say it's an 8x10, it's in good condition. How much are we talking here?
We've sold like photos of people like having family gatherings at their house, like for Thanksgiving or something like that, and everybody's sitting around the table smoking, and there's kids in the room and stuff like that, and they sell almost immediately because you will never ever see that again. And it's all about content. It's all about content. And in some of the content, you look at it and you go, there's no way anybody's going to want this. And it's the most popular picture you've ever sold, or something like that. So it's not necessarily content that you would think of. Like a good example of it is you would think like Christmas photos of a kid opening presents would not be a great thing.
Yeah.
And the kid is not. And nor is maybe the present. It depends on what the present is. But if it's just a kid sitting there holding a wrapped present in front of a Christmas tree, it would sell quickly. And it has nothing to do with the kid. It has everything to do with the Christmas tree behind him, because that Christmas tree, first of all, is a major fire hazard. Second of all, it's you don't see trees decorated that way with the tinsel hanging all over it and the very sparse lights and stuff like that. So it's all about that content, and people want it because of that tree, not because of the kid. And so you get into like this weird kind of way of looking at other people's photos where you're looking at it and you're like, oh yeah, there's these guys over here that are really, really happy, but in the background there's an old television with rabbit ears on it. People are going to want it.
Right, that's true. All right, so this is what I'm hearing you say is if Mike and I go to some touristy place that takes those old-timey photos with all the props, we can simply dress up and pretend to be cowboys.
There you go.
Yep, there you go.
And then say this is authentic. This is back when we were rustling the cow herd back in the Old West.
Rough it up a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. These are our great grandfathers back in the Old West days.
Spitting image of them.
That is super fascinating. I never would have thought of family or photos.
But I heard you ask about the price, and we didn't answer you. It just depends. Anywhere like a Polaroid, like snapshot, depending on the content, like between maybe $25. We sold one today of like the Goodyear blimp over an airport from like the early, I think it was like 1935 for $18. Oh, wow. So it just, and the thing that's so great about that is like, they take up no space.
Right.
I put them in a plastic sleeve. I put a number on them so I can find them when they sell in the plastic sleeve. I just flip through. I have 500 listings in like a shoebox size space.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just imagining sourcing this. I'm at a garage sale. I'm digging through some boxes. I find an old album, and I say, "Hey, how much for your album?" And they respond like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, those are personals or our family photos." And then I say,
like,
"No, I want those. I want your old family photos. How much for this 70s or 80s album?"
Well, and so you got two things there. First of all, it's never going to happen. But
you'd be surprised.
You would be surprised, yes. But you got two things there, and the major point that you could take away from that is nobody knows these are valuable, and nobody thinks they're valuable. 9 times out of 10, they end up in the trash can, especially if it's like family photos of like your past family that you don't know. Like when my mom moved all her stuff, like we found photos of people and she's like, I have no idea who these people are.
I've got a box in my
something
garage
like that.
of that.
Yeah. Exactly. So that, and most of the time they end up in the trash can. But if you get people that do estate sales and do online estate sales, they're like, oh no, they are worth money. They're not worth a lot of money, especially in an album. And so we buy these albums for $20, $15. If they have like military stuff in it, or like, pictures from the wars or something like that, they're going to go for crazy money because the guys that collect war memorabilia will buy them. But if it's somebody's vacation album where it's like, Ocean City, Maryland in 1965 and, Disneyland, and, everyone's like, these aren't worth anything. And you're like, yeah, they are, because that's old Mickey Mouse from the 60s and people love that stuff.
That's a good point.
So that's kind of where we've kind of steered our business towards, is the obscure things that people are like, yeah, this isn't worth anything. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. If we walk into a thrift store and there's, 58 Funko Pops and they're all 50 cents, we're buying them all, or if, someone's giving away Jordans, we're buying them, of course. But, our bread and butter stuff, and I hate using that word because it's so overused in this community, but the stuff that we'll buy every day is stuff that everybody else is not looking for, or the people that don't watch our channel aren't looking for. So, yeah.
Okay, so at a garage sale, sometimes they ask you, hey, how's it going? What you looking for? Is it socially appropriate for me to say, actually, what I'm really looking for are your old family albums?
I mean, if they ask you, sure, why not?
Carl, you're awkward enough that you'd probably do that too.
I do feel... Yeah, I feel like people would think that that's weird. Like most of them we get from like the online auctions or live auctions that we've gone to. And I did find one at the bins one time, believe it or not. Yeah. And it was crazy. It was so crazy because I had gone up to like the fresh bins. So like, have you guys gone to the bins? No. You said
yeah, I've been once a few years ago.
No, I have not. And I'm scared, to be honest with
you.
Well,
yeah, you should be.
Okay.
You got to ease your way
Football helmet.
You got to ease your way into it.
Yeah.
Well, I learned this tip from somebody on Whatnot. They, whenever, like, if you don't have a bag, they turn a shirt into a bag. They just use a t-shirt and they just shove stuff into the t-shirt.
Crazy.
And then they go over and they sort it later. But so they had just put out these like fresh bins, and I saw the photo album and I'm like, oh, no one's going to go for this photo album. I got to get that photo album. It's probably so good. And everyone's rummaging around, and I like, because of just how crazy it is, I completely forgot about the photo album. And so I take everything back to my cart and I'm like, oh crap. Like I didn't go for the photo album, but I'm like, oh, I guarantee I go back up there. Nobody's going to go after that. And it's probably still going to be there. Sure enough, it was just sitting there. Yeah. And I got it. And, there was this obscure band from like the 60s promo shots of this band called We and the Revelations. A band that like no one had ever heard of. There's barely any information. There's like one little article maybe. And we sold them. I think we still have one left. I think there are 4 total. I think we sold like 2 for $40 and like 1 for $25.
Yeah, I remember them back in the day.
So like that stuff's gonna sit, because you have to find the right person that it's like, hey, I really need a picture of We and the Revelations. That was like my favorite band. Yeah. But the great part is it takes up no space,
Wow, you two are filled with amazing stories and tips upon tips. I feel like, we're mining in a very lucrative gold mine of knowledge here.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this.
we got more. We got so many tips.
So much.
Yeah, I can't wait to show you the next photo of my buy. I'll be like really proud of it. Look at all these photos, and you'll say, yeah, it's not really worth anything.
You want one more obscure bolo?
Yeah.
Old sticker albums.
Stickers?
And I'm not talking about like sticker albums where it's like stickers that are fresh that you can peel off and stick somewhere. I'm talking about somebody got a photo album or a sticker album and bought a bunch of stickers and just put them all in there in different ways, shape, or form. And you sell them as a whole, as a whole. So the album and everything.
Yeah, I was just gonna, man.
Yeah,
you're taking all my good stuff, Carl.
Yeah.
Scratch and sniff McDonald's. Yeah.
Scratch and sniff.
Scratch and sniff McDonald's, Michael Jackson.
Where's this mute button at? Golly.
That's amazing. That's big time.
We sold one sticker album for $119.
Wow.
Yeah.
We paid $1 for 4.
That's great. And that's something that somebody's just gonna throw away at the end of a sale too. That's crazy.
First time we ever saw one. We've never seen them before, but we will be looking for certain if they come. And
when I did bid on them, I'm like, oh, I know that these are going to be probably $40 to $50 a piece. Some stuff I just know.
Yeah.
I have like this thing. I just know.
Right there.
Like, yes, fair. I have that.
Yeah,
I have that.
Hopefully one day I'll be there with you.
But like that's why I don't know. It's just I kind of steer clear of like the clothing very much anymore, unless it's like super like vintage or like it's just, you know, something unique. But I'm all about the pictures and the Cabbage Patch and the sticker albums and the towels is another thing. Vintage towels is another huge thing.
All right, you guys, this has been great, and I hate to cut it off. Well, definitely loved having you guys on. Hopefully I'll have you guys on soon again. If you guys are up for it, we can continue on with all these great stories. I love having it.
We're plethora.
Oh, I bet. And I can't wait to hear them either.
All right, Mike. Like, a lot to react to there, but what kind of top of your head, what do you think?
There's so much that I related to in the estate sales and just elbowing people to get to what you need and what you want, and just people pushing you around. But I took away so much. Like, I never would have thought of so many of the things that they talked about on and that they gave us examples on, like those old time pictures. I mean, I pass up boxes constantly. It's crazy.
Oh, I don't even know if they're there because I wouldn't even look at that kind of stuff. Right now I will, for sure. Yeah. They
made a good point about the obscure things, right? They said everybody goes for Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Cabbage Patch, all the stuff that we know sells, and it's the stuff that we don't think about that we should be picking up and looking at.
Yeah, just taking risks on things, especially if there's not very much money. If you're like, I don't know about this, but it's $1, just go ahead and grab it and see. And then if it's nothing, then who cares? But if it's something, then, you know, you just got a new angle, so to speak, right?
Yeah. They had a good point too. And I kind of figured this out on my own too. It's get into something that you love or that you enjoy picking, that you enjoy researching, that you enjoy selling. You know, I really found that we've talked about it on a previous episode too, where I figured that out. And that's so important, or you're going to burn out so quick.
For sure. 100%, man. Yeah. I think, the whole like elbowing and that I haven't really experienced that, to be honest. I'm pretty mellow with things.
Oh, really?
So I've definitely experienced where I want something somebody else wants. Wait a second.
I have went yard selling with you before, and I've seen you pick stuff. Come on.
Elbow?
I don't know about elbows, but you're definitely double parked.
Oh yeah, that's not elbowing. I'm not like physically assaulting people though.
No, you're not physically assaulting.
No,
you're driving 50 miles an hour down a 25-mile-an-hour street.
Incorrect.
Come on.
Incorrect. That is not
yes,
true.
Yes, you are. I've been with you.
I'm not driving 50 miles an hour, Mike. Come on, that's exaggeration. I'm talking about, so I've arrived, seconds after somebody's arrived and is looking at the same things as me. Yeah. So I'll just ask like, hey, are you interested in that same thing? And then they usually get really defensive. And they're like, yeah, like get out of here. And so I do. If I'm the one ahead, typically I'll make a little pile and I'll just say, okay, I want to buy this and here's my price. And then if somebody comes up and then sort of investigates the pile, I don't get handsy with them or elbow them out of the way or get mad. I just say, hey, just so you know, I already bought that.
Yeah, gotcha. And then that's my pile or something like that. That's my box.
I say it politely for sure. So I don't know, different. We're talking. Now we've had interviews with folks from different parts of the country, so maybe there's different experiences there, or maybe I'm just not doing it the same way. I don't know, but either way,
big cities too. I mean, Pittsburgh's 300,000 people, compared to my town's 30,000 people. So
for sure,
different demographics.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that my goal, when we have a guest on, is to have some sort of a takeaway that I'm going to directly apply to future picks. Something where they've inspired me to do something either differently or try something new. And so I think with these folks, I am going to specifically try to find old albums. I don't even care if I, make much money on them. I just think it'd be interesting to sell an old picture. So I don't know how available these are, but I'm going to keep an eye out for old albums. And I'm going to snatch one up. How about you?
All right. Well, I honestly thought you were going to say that you're going to start picking Cabbage Patch Kids, but
I don't see them that often. I honestly, they're rare and they're typically from people that know what their value is.
Yeah. No, I don't see them either. That's awesome that they found those brand new ones. That's pretty cool.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm kind of with you. I'm going to start looking at the old pictures. Like I literally really do have a box of old pictures from the Azore Islands, from where my family's from. And I don't know who they are, to be honest with you. So I'm going to look through that. Yeah, I'm going to look through them. And well, I'll probably get my family's permission. My brothers might want them or something like that. But I'm going to look through them and see about posting those. But, something else that they brought up was the stickers.
Mm-hmm.
You find those from time to time, and you never really think about.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen those before, but I'm not looking for them, so who knows?
Yeah, I've seen them from time to time at the yard sales.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm gonna check those out
Good
too.
deal.
Great tips. There's so many great tips that they gave that I walked away
100%.
with.
Scratching the surface here, but
Uh-huh.
all right, man. Do you have a pick of the week?
My pick of the week is so it's something that I've had for a really long time, and I didn't realize that it was something that I could sell, but it was and it's called an Abu Garcia bait caster reel, and it's a pretty fancy reel. It's still in the box. I picked it up at an estate sale probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
With full intent of using it to fish with myself, but I never did. And then when I was making room in my garage for my inventory, I pulled out one of the tubs and I was like, oh, I've got these 3 fishing reels here that I never use. I had full intent to use them, but I never did. And so I took pictures and I listed them, and I bought the thing for probably $20 and held on to it for 4 years, and then I sold it recently for $99 plus shipping.
Whoa.
Cool, huh?
That's super cool, man.
I had
Nice.
a ton of watchers on it, and
Yeah.
it was kind of funny because it kept saying, do you want to send an offer? Because I had a bunch of watchers on it, and I had it originally at 129. I dropped it to 110, and it was just progressively went down to 99. Then I sent offers out for like $83 to the 4 or 5 watchers I had, and as soon as I hit submit, I got a full price
sale,
not an offer, but full price sale on it. So
yes, dude, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. So you actually were a picker before you even knew it.
Yeah, exactly. I've always been fascinated with the state sales and yard sales and stuff, though.
Okay,
so
good deal, man.
Jen's a little worried that we're going to turn into hoarders, that our house is going to look like a hoarder.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is a risk, but you just have to keep on listing. As long as you keep on listing, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, good key takeaway right there. Yep, that's mine. What's yours?
Okay. So I am proud of the story here because this is inspired by you.
Me? What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't even think there's going to be many garage sales left, but there's been a few kind of trickling in on the weekend. And so I went out last Saturday, and you had given me a tip that I didn't, I kind of like, I believed you, but I still was skeptical. I'll say that.
Really?
You said that you had learned that some people are starting to sell VCRs.
Yeah, VCR DVD combos.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that it was the combo thing. And so, because I see VCRs all the time, they're usually junky, they're not worth anything. Right. But I came across a change your VC or your VHS into your DVD kind of machine.
Yeah.
It was a Magnavox. It was used, but it had the original box and all the stuff in it. And so I was like,
oh wow.
So I looked at it and I was like, is this what Mike's talking about? I don't know. So I looked it up, and it looked like it was, doing pretty well on eBay. And so I was like, all right, how much you got for this? And he's like, $5. So I bought it for $5. And I listed it, and I sold it. Oh man, I think I sold it this morning or yesterday. And because it had the box and all this stuff, it was worth a little bit more. So I think I ended up selling it for like $140.
What? Oh my gosh.
I know.
$140
Way more than I thought. Yeah.
Jeez.
And here's the thing though, is because I don't have VHS or blank DVDs, I couldn't test out whether it was really working. But I mean, it was kept in such good shape. So I was kind of taking a little bit of a risk on it. So I'm hoping it's not going to be a return. But yeah. Anyway, so that was inspired by you. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome. And I'll take my 20% later.
Yeah,
okay?
I could have predicted you were going to say that. And yeah, I got it for you right now. I've got it in cash in a wallet. So come on down and grab it.
All right. I'll be around the corner. I'll be down in the morning. Don't worry about it. Nice.
Yeah, man.
That's a great pick. I look for those things all the time, and they're typically around $5 too.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
Pretty cool.
But what's crazy about this kind of stuff is that you gave me the tip, and then I immediately found something, right? And so you think, oh, well then moving forward, I'll probably find a ton of these things. It doesn't work that way. It's usually like, oh, there's just these strange coincidences where you think of something or somebody gives you a tip and you find it, you're like, oh, that's great. And then you never see one for 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy how that works out.
I see them all the time. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm talking about ones in the box and that, have had good condition or they've
the good condition ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So,
that one that I told you about. It was all I took it had a VCR on top of it. I took the VCR off and it was just demolished on the top
yeah,
of
exactly.
the
Exactly.
combo.
So, all right, man. Well, this has been good.
Man, it was really great talking to those two. If you want to find out more, you can head on over to YouTube and Facebook at Pittsburgh Picker. And on Instagram, it's Daburg Picker, DABURGH Picker. And then for Sarah's Instagram, it's the.daily.cabbage.
That's right. All right, fellow pickers. It's time to find your own treasures now, one story at a time.
And remember, it's not reselling if you take it out of your neighbor's garage. That's just stealing.